I spiraled yesterday because my husband, this is going to be so hard for me to say it out loud. My husband and I had a conversation and he told me the words you probably never want to hear as a prison wife. Quote, if I go to El Salvador, you need to move on with your life, because in El Salvador, they don't get visits. There's no visits, there's no TV, there's no radio, there's no communication. I'm basically going to be in there existing and rotting. Move on with your life, is what my husband told me.
Correction officers were arrested on warrants for engaging in organized criminal activity in Bowie County. A majority of them, just from view, you can see that they are women.
Mostly women. Yeah.
Mostly women COs. They're facing multiple felony charges, including bribery, prohibited substance in a correctional facility, and possession of marijuana. Their arrests were accompanied by the execution of 7 search warrants in private residences linked to the accused individuals. Yeah, this is exactly the things that we're talking about. It's not coming from us.
At Angola, we go through an airport scanner to scan our orifices, basically. We also have a drug sniffing dog that we have to stand in a booth and let the dog sniff us. We can't bring anything in other than money and a key fob and our ID. So if you think that it's us, you are sadly mistaken. 10 New York prison guards were charged Wednesday with a connection with the fatal beating of a 22-year-old inmate last month, including 2 charged with murder. So our satanic Attorney General, Liz Morel, I'm going to call her ass out because she's a twat waffle, wakes up every day wanting to kill somebody. She just wakes up. I think she's just a miserable see you next Tuesday, and she wants to wake up and is just bloodthirsty.
Our husbands, our people, our daughters, our sons, our loved ones are property of the state, and at the end of the day, that's what it is. And our love and everything can do so much, but clearly the government wants to do whatever they want to do, and they're gonna do whatever they want.
This is for the prison wife. Still don't break, love don't fold. I'm still here, I'm still gold. Through the glass, through the gates.
I love the new hair.
Just like one of those days, dude. Nothing's gonna make me feel like, you know.
Yeah, I understand. Hey, we're all there, like at some point or the other. We all feel that way. I woke up with a horrible migraine and I just kind of laid in bed and fell back asleep for a little while and waited for my meds to kick in. But we're here. We're here. We made it.
The worst cramps of my life right now. Like, I literally have been suffering the past 3 days, and I'm still like, right now, I'm like, I don't know why.
Well, I know you get PMDD pretty bad, so it's just not the fun time of the month at all.
No, not at all.
Poor thing. But look, I'm wearing my bling bling.
Oh, it looks so good. Look at you.
I got my pinky ring.
I love it.
I love them. They're actually like, they fit, but they're a little like, it's weird. Like my pinky must be like a 4.5 or something, but they stay on because they're so thick. The bands are so thick because they go all the way around. So I love them. So I'm doing my mob wife today.
I love it.
So
I'm fine, guys. I'm fine. We'll keep going.
And I just want to say, if you can't see Paige, she just got her hair did. She looks fantastic. And it's just listen, it's a rough day for both of us. And I feel bad for Paige because she's not feeling great. But listen, we're here for you guys. We're here. We show up. We ride at dawn. We're doing the damn thing. So welcome, everybody. Welcome to Love Within Walls, a Prison Wife podcast. It's your friendly host, Gigi here. And I'm here with
your friendly host, Paige. I just don't want to look at myself.
Okay. It's okay. We have those moments, y'all. Clearly, we're human too. And we're here to bring you episode 54. So before we start, though, I'm going to go ahead and get into our sponsor, Beyond Bars Imaging. Hit up Paige. She just made the most, like, I know one of our wallers requested some Easter pics, and it was incredible. Let me just say this. She took a prison visit picture and made it into like 4 or 5 cute Easter themed pictures and changed the clothing. So, cause he wears like, like almost like scrubs. It looks like, like like a blue outfit. So she put regular clothes on him, like polo tees. We're talking like just looking, and it looks so real. And I love the one where, if you haven't checked it out, please do. I think you made it into a reel, right? And I love the one where they're holding the bunnies. Like, that's, to me, I thought that was so adorable. But they have pictures like in a field, Easter egg hunting with bunny ears, like all of it. So please get on over to Beyond Bars Imaging. I know Easter has come and gone, but you can always get spring pictures. You can always get summer pictures. Hey, 4th of July pictures coming up. It's wedding season. So if you are getting married and you want a more, real looking wedding scene versus the inside of a chapel or the inside of a visiting shed, hit up Paige at Beyond Bars Imaging, because she can make all your picture dreams come true. Just saying. So, all right, Paige, are we ready to get this party started?
Yes, we are.
Okay. It's okay. We're gonna be trudging today, y'all. Trudging. So, all right, here we go. It's time for some what up with that. Ooh, that's
what up with that? What up with that?
All right, guys, it's time for what up with that legislation. Paige, did you want me to start, or you want to start?
I have one I can start with, and maybe we can go back and forth.
Cool.
The first thing I have here is 7 TDCJ officers arrested in contraband operation. In a striking development, law enforcement officials executed 7 felony arrest warrants on Wednesday, April 9th, concerning an alleged conspiracy involving correctional staff at Barry B. Telford Unit of the Texas Department of Criminal Justice. This operation is the result of ongoing investigation led by the Office of the Inspector General and the Texas Board of Criminal Justice, alongside support of various state officials. The following TDCJ correction officers were arrested on warrants for engaging in organized criminal activity in Bowie County. We'll maybe list the names here and their photos, because they all have mug shots. A majority of them, just from view, you can see that they are women.
Mostly women. Yeah.
Mostly women.
Wow.
COs. So they're facing multiple felony charges, including bribery, prohibited substance in a correctional facility, and possession of marijuana. Their arrests were accompanied by the execution of 7 search warrants in private residences linked to the accused individuals. Yeah, this is exactly the things that we're talking about. It's not coming from us. It's coming from the people whose bags don't get it searched. Like, you know what I mean? It's coming from the places that you think that they aren't,
Absolutely. I was thinking, like, at Angola, we go through an airport scanner to scan our orifices, basically. We also have a drug sniffing dog that we have to stand in a booth and let the dog sniff us. And so we can't bring anything in other than money and a key fob and our ID. So if you think that it's us, you are sadly mistaken, because we get searched to the highest level, whereas you have people coming in every day not getting searched to work.
So,
wow.
Had to bring light to that one.
Yeah. All right. Well, I do have a couple of things. There is a few days ago in New York, New York prison guards were charged with beating inmate to death and trying to cover it up. This was an article out of the News Tribune out of Utica, New York. I think I'm saying that right. It said 10 New York prison guards were charged Wednesday with a connection with the fatal beating of a 22-year-old inmate last month, including 2 charged with murder. It is the second that a group of correctional officers in this state was indicted for a death behind bars this year. Messiah Nantwi I think hopefully I'm saying his name right. A prisoner at Mid-State Correctional Facility died on March 1st from injuries he sustained in a series of beatings by guards that began in his room and continued even when he was lying handcuffed on the floor of the infirmary, the indictment says. 6 of the officers were charged on Wednesday, were accused of assaulting Nantwi, while 4 others were accused of participating in a cover-up that included filing false reports, plotting to plant a makeshift knife, and cleaning up blood in Nantwi's room in an effort to destroy the evidence. All of them entered not guilty pleas. His death came several months after Robert Brooks was fatally beaten by Marcy Correctional Facility just across the street from Mid-State Prison. 6 guards have pleaded not guilty to murder in charges of Brooks's death, and other employees have been charged. So clearly I'm just kind of perplexed. Like, if you're complaining that these prisoners have too many rights, yet you're beating them to a pulp and then trying to cover it up, what does that say about you? Your claims are bogus to me. Sorry, I'm going to be a bitch about it, but your claims are bogus to me. Because if you're sitting here saying that these men need to be in solitary and these men need to have more rules and there needs to be lax rules for y'all, no, you're not going to get them because you're killing people, literally.
And like, what examples do you have for that? Because like, we have all these examples of why you guys need to be
held accountable. Yeah. So our hearts and our thoughts go out to that family, because I mean, now they're going to have to, I'm getting heated up already. People think that a prison sentence is automatically a death sentence for people. And I don't know Mr. Nantwi's charges. I don't care. Doesn't matter. He's a human being. And his sentence, even if it wasn't a life sentence, he doesn't deserve to die and be subdued and then beat some more.
I mean, no one does.
No. And I think people think, oh, prisoners deserve that. Prisoners deserve that, and I'm
how
just
many
like,
of these people are like released back into society and are people that we have to live amongst? Like, don't you care about these things that they have to go through? Because that's going to give anyone trauma.
Correct. I was going to say the trauma there is for life. You have that for life, and if you have to endure that day after day, wow,
Mm-hmm.
So our hearts go out to that family, because I know they're probably living a nightmare, and I'm wondering if the body cams were on, because I know they have to wear body cams, and if they have to witness that, I mean, that's traumatic also for the family,
Mm-hmm.
And then these people, I'm sure these correctional officers also have families, and now their behavior is going to impact their own families, just like, our loved ones' crimes impact us and their families, so I'm sorry. I just really don't. I applaud correctional officers in New York for doing their job, for the ones that do their job correctly. But for y'all screeching and hollering about stuff and then this happens again, it makes your claims bogus to me. It makes your what you're asking for bogus to me. That's just my opinion, though. I also, do you have anything else, Paige? You want to toggle back and forth?
I had a little announcement that was shared with us about the Arizona level 4 facilities. In response to, this is a statement that they put out, in a response to an uptick of inmate violence, the Arizona Department of Corrections, Rehabilitation and Reentry announced today that a series of actions, some immediate, others will take place in the coming weeks, designed to help protect staff and inmates while reducing curtailing and discouraging violence within the inmate population. Oh God, I hate how they just use inmate. So the closed custody units, which amount for approximately 4,900 of more than the 35,000 inmates across ADCRR and private contracted prisons, are where a recent rash of violence has taken place. Inmates assigned to these units are some of the more high-risk inmates in the state custody, with histories of institutional violence, significant behavioral problems, and longstanding disciplinary issues, and other concerning factors. To ensure the safety and security of the staff and inmates, they are implementing a series of actions to restore the structure. There's a list of 5 different units here that they are having restricted movement and basically locking down. And, sorry to any of those men that don't fall under that wide umbrella that they like to include in there to justify their actions. It's like, just saying that doesn't justify you, because like, how long are you guys going to do this for? And why is there violence in these Arizona prisons?
Yeah.
Because I think we all know, like, the conditions are terrible. Like,
Yeah.
whenever the videos come out from people have cell phones in there, it looks like it's like a death camp. I don't know how to explain it.
No, you're absolutely right. And I'm wondering if the conditions are, obviously people react to things and behave a certain way based on the conditions of their environment. Yep. And I'm wondering, makes you question, like, even when in California, when this was happening, what are the conditions? Yep. Like, what are the conditions they're living in to prompt this? And now, not everybody's getting treated the same, even if not everybody's participating in these crazy behaviors. But it prompts you to think, like, what are they living in to get to this?
Yep.
So, I have, and I'm sorry our hearts go out to all the families that are going to be impacted by.
I know there's a lot of them in our group too, because that's who sent it to us, and they've already been dealing with it.
Yeah.
So
our hearts go out to y'all. Y'all are strong. We're here for you. We're here to support you. Families, loved ones. If your loved one's in Arizona on level 4, we're here for you guys. You can vent, cry, scream, whatever you need to do. We're going to be here to support you, because it's not easy when these things happen. And I believe the one in California that was lifted, correct?
Mostly, yeah.
Okay. So just know that looking at California, when this happened on their level 4 yards, that eventually it will hopefully get better, that there will be a better day. That's all. I mean, I know that's kind of like Pollyanna crap that I hate myself, but just seeing other places where this has happened, that to know that it's going to get better at some point. I have something from Louisiana. We talked about, and this kind of goes, we're going to obviously move to more of a federal level. At the end of 2024, Joe Biden, I guess it is a presidential pardon or a commutation of sentence. People get that confused when they talk about death row, like, oh, they're going to let him out and all this stuff. And I'm like, no, they're going to be in there for life. It's a life sentence without the possibility of parole. There's a couple of things happening with that. The first thing is that the ACLU, or a group, I don't know if it's the ACLU or a different group, I might be, someone can correct me, is trying to fight back on overly punishing these death row inmates. When Biden gave them a commutation of sentence, this put them into a category of federal level penitentiary, U.S. federal penitentiary for life. And that means based on their points, they could go to wherever their points would take them. They would be transferred somewhere. And now President Trump is saying that they need to go to Supermax because they're nothing but pieces of shit. And basically with that, because we have a wife who, one of our friends, is a former federal death row wife, and she's telling me, like, based on them sending them to Supermax, they would be getting one phone call a month. They would have only glass visits. They won't even get contact visits because they're in Supermax. So basically, what they have now will be even more restricted than federal death row in Terre Haute, Indiana. So this group is trying to fight and sue the Federal Department of Justice, or President Trump. I don't know who they're actually suing, but they're trying to get them to take those severe punishments off, like that, just because former President Biden gave them the commutation of sentence, that they deserve to be treated based on their points, not because they were formerly on death row and be sent to supermax. So there is a little bit of fight there, which is awesome to see, because it's not fair. If you are in a federal system and you have the points to go down, to level down, you should be able to do that, you know? But instead, they're going to try and send them to this horrible supermax prison, which is going to restrict a lot of their rights and communications with loved ones. So I'm glad to see a group fighting that in the courts and suing the Federal Department of Justice. Also, speaking of federal, we have a person from Louisiana on former federal death row. And, you know, we talked about this, that President Trump is telling the states to go ahead and give them the death penalty again. And while this seems like double jeopardy, this is totally legal. So our satanic attorney general, Liz Morel, I'm going to call her ass out because she's a twat waffle, wakes up every day wanting to kill somebody. She just wakes up. I think she's just a miserable see you next Tuesday. And she wants to wake up and is just bloodthirsty. She needs to get some D. That's what my personal opinion, and I'll say it like that. She needs a little love in her heart because she's a soulless person. She wants to now file to give this man on federal death row who has been given a commutation of sentence. She wants to try him and give him the death penalty in Louisiana.
Can we let everyone know what that means? That means that your tax dollars would go to sending this man through a death penalty case again. That's already happened. And we've talked about how much those cost.
Yeah. So I went straight to Twitter and I'm like, tagged her ass. And I said, Liz Morel must wake up every day wanting to kill someone and waste tax and go, how can I kill someone in prison? And how can I waste the most amount of taxpayer dollars? Here it is. We are going to go through another capital case that for someone that was given a commutation of sentence because she is so bloodthirsty. This pro-life woman who wants to prosecute a doctor in New York for giving a woman Plan B.
Good luck on that, bitch.
No, and then the governor of New York's like, I am not sending him. I am not extraditing him. Yeah. She's so pro-life that she's willing to extradite a doctor from New York. But she's waking up every day wanting to kill people and waste your money.
She don't care.
Yeah. She's just when I say we're in a horrible state here, we're in a horrible state here. And I'm not the only one. There are people that are vote red typically that are like, these people are wasting our money and time and they're trying to make us think all these things and package all these deals together to make us think they're doing right by us, but all they're doing is they're power hungry and they have a God complex. So y'all, if you didn't think it was going to happen, I'm tired of the narrative. That's not going to happen. That's not going to happen. They can't do that. It's fucking happening. And it's happening in our state. And when I talk on the pod and everybody, listen, I'm not trying to be an asshole, but when everybody comes and jumps on me and crucifies me for talking, I'm calling it like it is. I'm saying this is where we're heading. You know, you don't believe me, the rollbacks are coming. The rollbacks have been happening when I said they were coming. You know, and now we're going to get into the talk about President Trump and what he wants to do to our people incarcerated. So, you know, you jump on me, but I'm calling it like it is. And what's going to happen, and I'm telling you, pay attention. Pay attention, you guys. These things are happening. You know, and I'm fired up about it because I get negative comments, I get crucified, and I get told, "Oh, you know, you're a mouthy fucking bitch," you know, and I'm calling it like it is because now I'm spiraling. I spiraled yesterday morning, moving out of legislation, but kind of staying in it. You know, I spiraled yesterday because my husband. This is gonna be so hard for me to say it out loud. My husband and I had a conversation and he told me the words you probably never want to hear as a prison wife. Quote, if I go to El Salvador, you need to move on with your life. Because in El Salvador, in these ECOT, I don't know what they call them, they don't get visits. So we thought we're going to board prison wives to El Salvador. It's not going to happen. There are no visits. There's no visits. There's no TV. There's no radio. There's no communication. I'm basically going to be in there existing and rotting. Move on with your life is what my husband told me.
We're not speaking that into existence right now.
I'm not, but I obviously, listen, we have to be real with ourselves and real with what this administration is doing.
There's going to be, if we got to that point, though, bro, like, there's like, I'm going to be in a completely different I can't even, like, I will go to DC. I'll drive there myself. Like, you know what I mean? Like, that shit is not happening.
I'm coming to fly up to you and we'll drive
That shit is not happening without like us going ape shit first and making a lot of fucking noise. And that's what everyone needs to do so that this doesn't fucking happen.
But what I'm saying is we talked about this could happen. Like if you think President Trump cares about your incarcerated loved ones, you are sorely mistaken. I said that when he first got into office or when he first got elected, really. And here we are. We're talking about it. This is a possibility. We're only maybe 3 or 4 months in. We're only 100 days into his presidency, and we're having these conversations already. And we have 4 more years to go. So can you imagine the fact that he's having Attorney General Pam Bondi look into the legality of moving our incarcerated population to El Salvador?
Like, this is what's important right now. You know what I mean? Like, our country is in the shit, and this is what's important.
The dollar is down at least 5 to 10%.
Yeah.
So this is what we're worried about for all the people that I'm going to vote for him for the economy.
Eggs.
I'm laughing.
Eggs. The price of eggs is insane.
The price of everything is insane. And with tariffs, it's just going to keep going
Thanks,
up.
guys.
So I'm just telling you this. When you vote, because I told this to RHOA yesterday, we had a big because some of them voted. Listen, some of the RHOA, which I can't understand, voted for Trump, voted for Governor Landry, voted for Morel. Yes. So we had a schooling session yesterday in RHOA, and I said, you know, if you think about who these policies really don't impact, if you think that they're not going to impact you, you are sorely mistaken. The only people these policies don't really impact are the mega wealthy.
Yeah.
Who don't have to worry about paying extra for tariffs or paying extra taxes or paying extra for insurance. They don't have to worry about that because they've got money coming out of their ass.
Well, I also saw that something that was talking about how even if you speak up or speak out against this publicly or anything, or if you have like a podcast or a platform where you speak out against all of these things, that you're also possibly on the list. And they could go for you next. So like even us simply having this podcast and saying our thoughts on here could make us a target to, oh, well, we're anti-American or whatever. You know what I mean? Like whatever they say.
What makes America great is the fact that we have the First Amendment. Mm-hmm. What makes America great is that we have the freedom of religion. We have the freedom to say what we need to say. I'm not wishing death on anyone. No. I'm not wishing harm on anyone. I'm just speaking the truth and my worried thoughts.
We're just asking us to follow the Constitution, which I thought was correct. Your guys' Bible. But
yeah, and I'm telling you this. If this were anyone else, articles of impeachment would have already been filed.
Duh.
There is no system of checks and balances anymore. And I know we're getting political and people go, I know, people probably like, all right, so. But this affects us.
Yeah.
How can we not be political when our husbands are, what happens if your person's innocent and they're being sent to El Salvador and you never hear from them again?
Yeah, y'all, our husbands, our people, our daughters, our sons, our loved ones are property of the state, and at the end of the day that's what it is. And our love and everything can do so much, but clearly the government wants to do whatever they want to do, and they're going to do whatever they want. So it's just need to be alert and aware and be ready to use your voice. That's all. You know, come united. We all need to come united, and we all need to use our voices and use that right that we have, you know.
And I was gonna say, we talked about this in RHOA, like, yes, people are like, well, he can't do that. I said, well, listen, right now there's no system of checks and balances, so he can do whatever the fuck he wants.
He's saying
And
no to the Supreme Court.
Correct. 9-0, right? So we talked about this yesterday, how this would probably play out if this were to really happen. And I know this is the if scenario, but as wives in Louisiana and having people in Louisiana, we have to be ready because our governor kisses Trump's ass. Like, he wants to be Trump, a mini Trump, basically. So this is what we were strategizing yesterday. We said, well, of course, he doesn't have jurisdiction over state people that are convicted in the state level. So he would start probably with the federal prisoners first, because he does have jurisdiction over the federal penitentiaries or the federal DOJ, basically. So he would start there. And then once those people were moved out, if that were to happen, if we were going to move he said, homegrowns are next. So that would be where he would start first. Then he may say, hey, let's open it up to the states. And he's in the business of changing shit around. So he could change laws if he wants to. And we were saying the states that would probably opt in for that program, governors, attorney generals of states, would be the red states in the South. Places like Louisiana, Oklahoma, Texas, Mississippi, Alabama. States that have, believe in incarcerating and throwing away and lock them away and lock them up and throw away the key, basically. So we said that would be where it would start. And obviously they would start with the worst of the worst. It would be death row, and then it would be lifers. So, we said that at this point, we have to be ready. Granted, it's very much against the law. It goes very much against the Constitution of the United States, but people don't seem to be okay with him not following the people that are saying the Constitution. He's not following the Constitution, and he's doing whatever the hell he wants, which is very scary. So he's looking, listen, y'all, he is looking into the legalities of this. He is looking into the legalities of this as we speak. This is happening. This is not just a if scenario. He's got an attorney general looking into this. So that would be how we thought it would probably go. So it is a worry. Granted, I do think, like Paige said, I do think people would stand up and fight this. Because listen,
because there's people against, even with the gentleman from Maryland who they pushed over there, and they're against moving our citizens, which is what you are, to a different country. And even people that are on either side are voicing that. So, like, you just got to hope that if he really tries that they'll start speaking up and using their voices too, because we'll need every voice for that, for sure. But people are saying, don't think that way. And I know I shouldn't think that way. I know it would take a lot to move, but he's moving fast in 100 days. And I'm just worried that we still have 4 years. What can he do? You know what I mean? I get it, but we're not speaking that.
Yeah. But I just wanted to put everybody on top of it, because it is, I did see it presented in a lot of prison wife groups. So I want to make sure that we do hit on it, because I know it is a concern. It was a concern of mine. I spiraled yesterday, and I know it's probably a concern for a lot of other people as well. All right. Well, I have a little tea time story. You want to get into some tea, Paige?
Hit me with that.
Would you care for some tea?
All right. It's time for some tea. All right. Well, my tea that I have is kind of cuckoo. We had a love affair at Angola. This is what I was told when I went to visit last week by some people back there, the people that work there, basically. There was a gentleman who was formerly on death row and got a life sentence. And he was moved to a different camp, moved to population. And he fell in love with a CO. And I don't know the extent, if they had an affair or if it was just kind of flirty and lovey-dovey kind of thing. I don't know the details of that. I wasn't told that. But this man got extremely jealous of this CO and basically beat her ass, like literally beat her up while she was at work.
Ew.
Yeah. And what I was told was his thought process was, and the reason this came up is because he's now in CCR, which is closed cell restriction, which is like PC, like protective custody. You can't be around other people. Clearly, you can't be around. You have to be in it's 23-1. Let's just say that it's 23-1, and you're in a single cell. So he was moved to CCR, and so CCR now visits at death row because we have the glass booths, and they have no contact because they've obviously lost privileges, right? So he comes back over there, and everybody knows him, and people are like, "Why are you in CCR, dude? Like, you're out in population." And so we get the story from people that work there. Well, he beat her ass to a pulp, and basically the idea was, if I can't have her, no one. I felt like I was I was listening to a Lifetime movie. If I can't have her, no one else will. I felt like I was in my brain. I was reliving. I don't know if y'all are as old as me, but there was a Lifetime movie with Fred Savage and Candace Cameron, where he basically killed his girlfriend because he was so possessive over her. And I just thought of that because I was like, holy shit. So this guy came and visited.
That's how a lot of like those situations go, because they're like, well,
Yeah.
if you're not with me, then
Yeah. If I can't have you, no one else will.
wow. How did he get alone with her? Well, I guess if they were having a relationship.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know if he did it in the middle when he was out of, like, because that for that 1 hour that he got, I don't know if they were alone together in a moment and she told him, I can't do this or something. And I honestly don't know. So I don't want to say what it was, but or I can't say what it was. But yeah, it was just a crazy story.
That's honestly sad because like clearly he's not rehabilitated if he like jumps to that because the relationship doesn't work. Like, okay, what?
Yeah. So yeah, it was a crazy story. So I just wanted to share my little tea time. I do want to talk about, do we have some mean tweets?
I think that we do.
Oh yeah, we do. Yeah, we do. Hell yeah, we do. Hold on, let me get my tweets here. Is this it? Yeah. All right, Paige. Do you have it? Because I have it screenshotted.
I do have it.
You have all three?
Maybe not all three.
Okay. Well, I have the other ones if you don't have all three.
These comments come from a very obviously a really great person. His username is Deplorable Virginia 1881. Deplorable Virginian 1881. His photo is the Confederate flag.
Solid man.
Homeboy loves taking L's. That's what that tells me. He comments on our video. He left 3 really, really nice comments. First one is, "Come on, kids, let's go see Daddy at the prison. What a family life." I was like, oh, okay. The next one is, "Should have kept your husbands on a leash or kept an eye on him." And this is me summarizing because it wasn't complete sentences. And I responded, I need you to have complete thoughts because I kind of don't really understand what you're getting at here with the leash and with everything. The last one I can't see on here, but if you have it screenshot.
Yeah. Oh, my favorite one that he gave us. This was actually the first one he gave us.
This was the best one.
"Why do these women always look ridden hard and put away wet?"
Like, who has insulted him with that insult before? That he, like, you know what I mean?
Yeah. And I said, just like your mom, honeys. We sure are.
And
just like your mom.
You know what I said? I actually got a little catty too, and I usually don't in our comments, but I had to. And I said, that's really big words coming from someone whose family tree looks more like a reef.
That was perfect. That was perfect. I told Michael that I read Michael your comment and he was laughing his ass off. He was like, "That's great. Paige is so good." I was like, "She is. She really
I'm
is."
like, what the hell?
Yeah.
What the hell? What the
So,
hell?
yeah. What the heliante? Um, I thank you, Mr. Deplorable
He didn't
Virginian, for not
respond.
only
I think he was confused because he kept, whenever he would like reply, he would make a new thread. I think that computers are hard for him. That's kind of what I got.
probably
But thank you for
a
commenting, and that does help with our traction. So thank you.
thank you for that. Thank you for your comment. Sorry, you're very thinker
And
type comment.
it's funny because we do get road and put away. But do you?
I'm so wet.
Do you?
And I was waiting for him to come back and say my mom passed or whatever. And then I already had another comment ready to go. I said, "Well, she's probably rolling over in her grave with the way you talk to women."
Literally, like you're embarrassing.
Just saying. Love a good misogynist this time of year.
They love to set up camp in our comments. Because nothing
Yeah.
makes them more mad than two women that have no interest in them but are interested in men incarcerated. It really like these men with fragile like masculinity, they can't handle that shit. They hate it.
Yeah. Yeah. They want us to shut up, sit down, be barefoot, and
And they
pregnant in
can't,
the
when we talk
kitchen.
back, they're like, what the fuck?
Yeah. Yeah. I love a good racist misogynist this time of year. All right. Well, do we have any sweet tweets? I felt like we did.
I feel like we had a lot of really nice people that reached out to us after that and said,
Yeah. Someone said this. This was someone commented. These are comments from our Spotify. Molly said, "Thank you for understanding people not sharing, but still without reason loving." I guess sharing their, if they're coming out of the closet or whatever. So this was also from episode 21. This was a new comment from Lioness. "I totally agree about the phone calls when he tries to call to make sure that I give my full attention to him and the conversation. I am in the closet about a relationship, so I have to be careful sometimes when I do answer. For now, that's the way it has to be, but I totally agree with you ladies. You have done a fabulous job. Keep up the great work. Prayers for all the prison wives out there and hugs." So thank you, Lioness.
thank you, ma'am.
For that beautiful
I
comment.
think we've all been in that place where we've been in the closet and then you get a phone call and like you have to pick it up, or you're in an area where you don't want to like talk or like make it like a known thing. It's like
Yeah.
it's so like stress inducing.
Yeah, you're like, what do I do? What do I do? Do I take the call? And then I put the phone down all the way down, like the volume down, so you
Yes.
can't hear Secure Sue,
Yes. Scream. This call is monitored and recorded.
"Hello, you're receiving a phone call from Michael Taylor, an incarcerated individual at the Louisiana State Penitentiary." Like as loud as possible, like on speaker. All right. Well, I guess we're gonna go ahead and just get. Oh, we need to do Paige's. Paige has some new nails. So what's up with Paige's nails? Paige, you want to show everybody your new press-ons?
They're French almond glossies, but they have like that hint of chrome to it, so it like
Yes, they are very glossy.
it makes it a little like chromy.
I love that.
So maybe we'll name her Chromie.
Chromio.
Chromie.
Chromie and Michelle's high school reunion.
I don't know what that is, but let's do it.
Oh, there's a movie from the 90s. I know I'm old. I'm showing my age, called Romeo and Michelle's high school reunion or something like that. And it's these two best friends who go back home for their high school reunion, and it's like they learn so much about themselves and try to impress everybody and stuff. So instead of Romy, it's going to be Chromie and Michelle. Love it. Love it. Great movie.
Period.
And so welcome Chromie to the pod. She's our new
Co-host.
our new press on of the week. Daisy May was last week, and now we have Chromie. They're beautiful, by the way.
Thank you.
And look at your I'm so jealous of that fucking ring, girl.
But listen, I'm getting in a whole bunch, and there's got to be some of them in there.
I love that.
I love it.
Yeah. Beautiful. She's blanging. She's blanging. All right. I guess what we're gonna do now is roll into your questions and comments. We have a lot. We have Speaky Pipe, all of that. So I think it's time for us to get a call from our favorite incarcerated individual,
Addie.
good old Florida Fred. Here we go. Speaking of Secura Sue.
Hello, this is a prepaid collect call from
Frederick.
an inmate at Florida Correctional Institution.
All right. So I'm going to go through some of the comments and questions. Paige, I'll send you a few in just a second. One thing that I did see that popped up, and Mike and I had a conversation about this morning. This was in a different, not our group, but a different group. And a lady had made this comment and said, my man got out on Friday. Why isn't he overly horny or super affectionate? And I wanted to talk about this real quick because I was like, oh my God, if that were Mike, I would kick his ass because no, like we've gone so long without. But Mike is very much a physical person, but he opened up my eyes to a different perspective. And, I thought, he said, well, if your man comes home and he's not overly affectionate and not super sexual at first, it could be because he's not used to human contact. Mm-hmm. So you have to be aware of that because I told him straight up, I said, if this was you, I would be very upset. And I can understand why, this prison wife is very concerned and very upset because of that, because all you hear is, oh, when they get home, they're like rabbits or, they just want to go, 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 all the time. But sometimes that doesn't happen. And I've heard this story several times from other prison wives that when their husband comes home, they're not very sexual. It's almost the opposite of what stereotypically you think. And so just know that if that happens, you need to be there for them. You need to comfort them and you need to let them know it's okay. And, when they're ready, Mike and I talked this morning about the fact that, he's going to struggle sleeping in the same bed with somebody because that's something he hasn't done in 26 years. I said, as long as you don't punch me out if I roll over and wake you up in the middle of the night, you know what I mean? He's like, no, it wouldn't happen. But I was going to ask, how does Joe, did he struggle with that at some of y'all's first family visits when y'all slept together in the same bed?
I think it might have been weird for him at first, but he didn't have too many issues. I think it's kind of like just like the fact that he was like so excited and we knew that we had like a limited time. I think it might be different when they come home and like you have like this is forever now and like the whole like I could see how you could easily get overstimulated by everything and I can't imagine. So like having to like do 5 million things and like make sure that you're still on your shit, I could definitely see.
Yeah. I was just thinking you're right about the overstimulation because they're coming from a world that's highly structured mm-hmm. and they're told when they got to do this and times and, it's a routine every day. They're by themselves or they may have a cellie, but they're in the bed by themselves to move into this whole world where our world for us sometimes gets overstimulating just for us and we're used to it. So I can't even imagine what that would be like, for someone that has been so contained in a shell for so long. And I know when I get overstimulated, I automatically completely shut down. Mm-hmm. So I can only imagine what some of these guys are experiencing. So yeah, I'm sending you some of the comments page. Okay, there we go. Okay. So I just wanted to address that, if that happens to you, I guess, just think about that, keep that perspective, because I wasn't even thinking with that headspace this morning. I was just like, oh my gosh, no, if that were me, I would kick Michael's ass, I'd want to be with him. I'd want to hold him. I'd want him to lay in bed with me, to be affectionate, not even just sexual, but just affectionate, All right, Paige, you want to do one?
I have one from one of our beautiful friends, No questions, just love you both. And that's our girl, Shelby, CDCR Carpools.
Aw, thank you,
Love
honeys.
you. We love you.
We love you so much. I've known her. I've known her for a while. Probably since the beginning of my journey, close to maybe the first couple of years. So
She's a good one.
she's an amazing woman. Love you, honeys. All right. Did you want to do another one?
Is this the question that you just asked, or is this just another version of the why do they change after they get out?
This is another question. Yeah.
I feel like it's hard for me to speak on this since I haven't had a man come home to me, but I feel like what I can assume and I can tell you based off of other people's stories that they've told me is I feel like I go back to that overstimulation and that, like we said, the routine and the schedules. And I know a lot of times there's conflict with, you and your loved one because you want to help them stay on track. And then they look at you and they're like, well, you're not a CO or my warden. And then you can even have conflict in that way where you're just trying to help them. And they're like, okay, well, I'm not in prison anymore type deal, It's just a whole, it's a whole environment change. It's like moving. You're taking them out of this place where they were and they had this routine and starting over. And, if they're not in the right mind state when they're leaving and getting out, I think that also affects it. Like you got to make sure you're doing the work when you're in there too, because it's very easy to just sit in there and do nothing.
Yeah. Yeah. I think it's always important to know how much of a change it's going to be when they do come home. I will say this. I think if they were engaging in behaviors while they were in and they come home, it's only going to get worse when they get out, because if they were engaging in negative behaviors inside, those behaviors will get worse as they come out, because they're open to a lot more.
And that's why we say you can't ignore the red flags, because they're going to be even bigger when they get out here, and they're going to have access to even more, like Gigi said.
Yeah. So, I mean, just looking at it, I don't know what the situation is and how they're talking about how they change and stuff like that. But if you're noticing red flags while they're in, and Michael always tells me this, if they're doing stuff and it's not healthy while they're in, you can only bet your bottom dollar it's going to be 3 to 4 times worse when they get out, because they're going to have access to so much more than they did before. So, the whole point of incarceration is rehabilitation and changing those toxic negative behaviors and changing your life,
working
to
on
make it
yourself,
better. Yeah. And if you're not willing to do that while you're inside, it's not going to happen when they're out either. So, in anything, it's just going to get worse. So, they do change when they get out because they have a whole new world that they're not used to. So that can be a good thing. It can also be a negative thing. And so you kind of have to be there for them, or if you realize when they change and it's not the change for the better that you're hoping, that may be your sign to say, I need to do what's best for me. And I thought you were it, but clearly you're not changed, or you're not changing the way in a positive way. You're regressing or changing in a negative way, So I have something from Addie. I'm just going to give a little background because I wanted to read this comment that she left. I had posted on my personal page, I'm not trying to go back to the bunny thing, but the bunny thing came back up. And I was told that we are glamorizing this life on our podcast. And I made a post because I was kind of hurt by that. It was somebody that I admired, looked up to, that said this, another prison wife, and she allowed other prison wives to say, like, I agree with Bunny, if you're MWI, like, something's wrong with you, basically. And said that I don't listen to prison wife stuff because it's all glamorized, so and she agreed with us about the pod, Bunny's words, obviously, but she also said that we're glamorizing stuff, and I wanted to spotlight this comment that Addie left me. It was very, very well said. Spotlighting does not equate to glamorizing. Sharing experiences does not mean glamorizing. It's reclaiming a narrative that gets reduced to a trope. There's a big difference. Talking about being a prison wife, especially publicly, is often an act of resistance against shame, not a recruitment pitch. Highlighting our lived reality, that's a form of narrative control, and it's vital. Psychologically, that's narrative identity. When we share our truths, we're not just talking, we're actually claiming our identity in a world that constantly tries to define us by someone else's standards. The judgment from inside the community comes from internalized stigma, where people have been told that because they deviated from social norms, we are, air quotes, less than, and thus our voices should be silenced. Sharing our lives helps others feel seen. It challenges assumptions. It sparks change, and I'm glad it's making some people uncomfortable.
I love that so much. And I love that too. Like, it's like exactly what we were talking about. Be a disruptor.
Yeah.
Why can't we share our stories? And it's a shame that other prison wives would speak out and say that, us doing this is anything but that, you're allowed to have your opinion, but I would know what you're speaking on before you cast that opinion.
At least watch or look at our reels or watch our podcast or, get some background before you start putting us all into a group of glamorizing. Because listen, there are people on TikTok, on Instagram, on Facebook that hella exploit and glamorize this
especially
life.
when you open a TikTok account and all their videos are about like, you can tell when like someone is really trying to advocate or talk about their loved one versus someone who is like on TikTok saying like look at me, I'm a prison, you know what I mean? There are differences, and especially prison wives know them. It's not our fault that you guys get that confused when you just see someone that has prison wife on their profile and group them all together. I think that speaks more on, your intelligence and your logic than the truth.
Amen. And I'm just thinking like people that do exploit for their personal gain are people like obviously our number one star that we hate to talk about, Trash Trevino, I call her.
A perfect example of how people take prison wives and say, "Oh, she is now the face of prison wives."
Correct. And then also that guy that was in prison that always tries to talk. He started out, I really liked him when he started out because he was giving like really great advice, like hold your man down, like all this stuff. And then all of a sudden he switched the narrative and now he's talking down to prison wives saying, your man's talking.
Are you talking about the idiot that I have blocked and never coming off my blocked list? Yeah, I've never liked him. He's always been a POS, in my opinion. And it's crazy the way he speaks on women when I would just say, look up, Google his charges is all I'm going to tell everyone.
Yeah. And basically he makes money. He makes money off of talking down to prison
He
wives.
rage baits off of that because he knows that other people will jump in and hate on the bandwagon because it's easy, and he knows that it'll make us upset. So that's why, honestly, all prison wives should just block this man because he's irrelevant to us, and he's trying to rage bait us so that he gets views and money.
Correct. Yeah. So there are people in this life that do exploit, and those are my top two that come to my mind. But we sit here and we're advocating, we're fighting for our loved ones. We're fighting to push reform. We're fighting to help nonprofits. We're doing all these things and we're trying to educate people on the stigma. And, we get rolled into that. And I wanted to really address that because, I'm sure these people will never listen to this, but we need you guys to know, like, I even explained to this woman, I said, we don't make money. Like, if anything, we lose money because this is like a second thing, a hobby that we do. Obviously, it's more than a hobby, but it's categorized as that because we put money forward to this.
Anyone who knows anything about YouTube or like podcasts and stuff should know that we're not making money off this. Like, our sponsor every week is my podcast or is my editing page. Like, you know what I mean? Like, we're literally doing this because we're passionate about it and we care about our community. There's no other backstory. Sorry, that's the bottom line.
Yeah. We're clout chasers and we're
Yeah, that's
glamorizing
right.
because I'm like
Clout chasing.
doing a thing for clout. All right. So I just wanted to share that because she had such a beautiful response,
like,
and Addie's always. I mean, gosh, I just admire her so much, and I respect and love her dearly. So thank you, Addie. All right, did you have
I
something
have
else?
one more from her, ironically.
Ooh, I think.
If you could bottle the essence of your relationship, what would it smell like and what is it called? That's like a really hard one for me because I'm like, I like want to go so many different ways with this, but I think I would take our like my perfume that I wore to our first visit that I always wear and his cologne that he wears because like every time I smell that now I think of him and I would like put it in like a bottle together or something and name it like us.
Okay.
You know, I don't know because that every time I smell that or I put on that certain perfume and my brain instantly goes back to like that moment and it's like happy.
Yeah. Well, I would say I've actually thought because I saw this comment, I saw this question way before Paige saw it, so she's kind of on the spot where I've had time to kind of think about it, and I'm just going on based off what Mike says his favorite scents, my favorite scents, and when he. I mean, I don't know if y'all know this, but Mike likes to sniff me down when I'm at visit. He'll smell my hair, he'll smell my clothes, he'll smell my skin. So I try to smell good for him. A combination of scents, and I don't know if this will end up smelling good, but in my mind it would. Ours would be called home because when Michael smells me, he just says, "You smell like home." And ours would be a scent. He loves the scent of fresh cut grass. I know that's not a scent you would wear on your body. I love my favorite scent. I don't know how to explain it, but it's almost like this. And if you've ever smelled this, you know what I'm talking about. It's like if you go outside and it's, springtime or fall and you smell the fields or grass or whatever, and it has that like cinnamon type scent. It's a very, I don't know if that's everywhere, if it's just here in Louisiana, but it's almost like a field scent where it's like you smell like the weeds or whatever it is, the grass, the whatever's growing, and it has this like cinnamon earthy type scent. I love that's one of my favorite scents ever. Whenever I smell it, I'll stop whatever I'm doing and I'll just go like get it in like I'm snorting something. Like that's what I do. It's like it makes me stop in my tracks. I love that scent more than anything. So it would be a combination of fresh cut grass, that earthy cinnamony type scent, and I love to wear. It's called Love Potion, but it's like the Victoria's Secret scent. I think it was Love Spell. So it mimics that. So maybe a combination of those, and we would call it Smells Like Home because that's what Mike says when we're at visit, and that's the lotion I wear. And besides my perfume, but he loves that scent.
Cute.
So, what would yours be, guys? Comment below. What would your essence be as a couple? All right. I have another comment question. So this is from off of our Spotify. Says, first off, love y'all's podcast. I do have a question on the story you told about the married woman who had phone sex with an incarcerated individual who was also in a relationship. Absolutely, we can be mad at the woman because she knew and she's being a lunatic to his woman. I'm definitely with you ladies there, but why are we not holding him accountable for even participating in that?
I forget what
He
story
shouldn't
this
have
is.
even.
Can you refresh me what story?
I have no idea. This was from I think this was from episode 13. But she's saying when incarcerated men go outside of their relationship, no matter what it is, whether it's phone sex, whether it's physical, why are we not holding him accountable for participating in that? He shouldn't have even called her, period. I feel like he's just as guilty.
Period.
Thanks, ladies. And
I don't
I
know
think this goes
I don't know what
for
story that
any.
was, but if I didn't crucify a man for his part in adultery, that's my fault
Yeah.
because I am always it's a 50-50 show to tango. 100.
I know, but even in outside of prison, when these things happen, we're first to go after the female. And she's right. Like, why do we do that? Like, why are we not holding the man? He's just as guilty.
That's just like
You
that's
know,
like a natural thing because it's like you like look at the male part as like an extension of you, and like you're like
yeah.
you like it's easier to forgive them in some sense because in your brain you're like, oh, this was a mistake, but this other person, you like look at it and you're like, you planned this and did this all to me to hurt me, like, you know what I mean? Meanwhile, the
Yeah.
person might not even know who you are or anything, but it is true. They need to be men and women need to be held at the same. You know, he should not be off of.
Off the hook
No,
at all. Yeah.
period. I'll have to go back and look at that. I'm curious at what
I
story that
know.
was.
I wonder. I can't remember because, I mean, gosh, we're on what? We're almost 40 episodes in, like, from that, you know? All right. The last question I have, before we get to our speaky pipe. Hey, ladies. This is from Jess. Hey, ladies. Question. How do you cope, or do you have any advice on how I can cope with the lack of physical intimacy in my relationship aside from visits? I'm an empath with a high libido, and physical touch is my main love language. My boyfriend, if he makes parole, will be out by the end of the year, but it feels like forever. Thank you guys for all you do. You guys are doing great. Love the pod. So thank you, Jess. So how can we cope with the lack of physical intimacy? How do we cope, Paige?
A lot of deep conversation. I feel like you can have like intimate conversations that are about sex or sexual. You know what I mean? We talk about some of that maybe more on our Patreon, but you can be very sexual without any contact. It is unfortunate that that's your love language, so I understand what you mean. But like, there's ways that you can feel just as close to them, like on the phone or like on a video call, and you can like do that just by like, you know, asking intimate questions or being like, you know, if I was there right now, like what would you know what I mean? Like, or giving
Yeah.
like playful scenarios and stuff. Like, I feel like that's a fun way to keep the connection.
Yeah, and I was gonna say follow those. I mean, they give out free cards every day. Those relationship card questions and stuff like that, and then also having video visits. I find having video visits with Michael in between visits, it helps me. I'm a physical touch love language. I'm also, you know, it just makes me feel connected to see him, and you know, for him to see me, and when we can't touch, you know, because we only get one contact visit a month, so it's definitely a struggle. And I think also having those engaging intimate conversations really do helps both of you, you know, feel more connected to each other. And even if it's not physical, it's something. I know it's not filling your love tank 200%, but it is a little something to keep you going throughout this. And then coming up with just creative ways to connect and, you know, have those conversations, or write, you know, dirty letters, or, you know, something like that. I think those really do help. The in-betweens between visits, and you know, hopefully we're in April, or mid-April already, moving towards the end of April, so hopefully it does fly for you. I know it feels like forever, but hopefully it does fly for you, for him to come home and y'all can have that reunion, to have the physical time together. So, but thank you, Jess, for that beautiful comment, and we love you, and thank you for supporting the pod, honeys. And we wish you guys the best for this year, and we're here for you if you can't, you know, if you need support to get through the hard times too. All right. Okay. I'm going to move into our speaky pipe. We got one speaky pipe, so I'm going to open that up. Just got to find it. There it is. Okay, here we go.
Hi guys, I'm Michelle. I'm here to speak on my boyfriend Josh, who's currently incarcerated at SCI Rockview in Pennsylvania. It's actually the second oldest state prison in Pennsylvania, built in 1915. There's been talk about it closing due to unsanitary conditions. I've even heard of inmates getting Legionnaire's disease, which comes from unsanitary water systems. I'm hoping this will be a chance, if it does get shut down, that Josh can get transferred back to his home county of Lebanon. Then maybe I can have a contact visit with him. I haven't seen Josh physically since I was incarcerated in February of 2023. I've been home, clean and fully off parole since February of this year. I've done everything right, followed every rule, passed every drug test, and even had my probation officer write a letter to Josh's counselor asking if they would let me visit, and still nothing.
Wow.
No visits, just video. Josh, he's actually stayed out of trouble his entire bid. No write-ups, no drama. I believe he's changed for the better. I know the DOC says it's policy because I'm a recently released inmate, but I think this is an outdated rule, and it's keeping us apart, and we deserve a chance to see each other. Thanks for letting me talk and share, and I love listening to your podcast. You guys keep on doing what you're doing.
Oh, thank you, Michelle.
Wow. I literally, it's funny that she mentions that because I've been like thinking about that rule. I understand why it's in place. But it's crazy that like it can't be evaluated off of like one-off situations like that. Like if her probation officer is reaching out and telling you that this woman is fine, like what, like, you know what I mean? It just kind of like sucks. And like, even like for like make a one-off yes, or you know what I mean? Like we know that visiting helps and is rehabilitative. So why would we not help that, you know?
Yeah.
That's hard.
And if she's done everything by the book and followed all the rules and been an exceptional parolee, and she's off paper, I mean, I don't see why it's such a huge deal. I think these guys can benefit, like you said, benefit from visits, and it keeps them on the right track. And if you have someone that's a model parolee, why shouldn't they be allowed to visit? I think it should be more of a case by case. I understand policy is policy, but I think, there needs to also be, like you said, another set of eyes to look at that and say, okay, for this, we'll make an exception. And I do understand, because I play devil's advocate. I do understand, well, if we make the exception for you, that means we have to make the exception for other people. Like, I know that's a Pandora's box they don't like to open. But I don't know. I think, like you said, if you have a parole officer saying this woman is incredible, she's done everything I've asked her to do, she's been clean, she's done all the things.
Like that's their job, isn't it? To tell you that. So it's like, so why does it matter sometimes and not other times?
Correct. I totally agree with that. So, Michelle, thank you for that comment question.
Pennsylvania prisons, Michelle, are just really bad altogether right now. Like the conditions, the water conditions, especially. There's actually a really awesome dude is coming out with a podcast. We'll probably even have him on here because I had messaged him and I was like, oh my gosh, you need to come on our podcast. And he's literally focusing on all the things happening at DCP, which is Dauphin County Prison, because have been so many deaths in that jail, and it keeps happening, and the conditions are terrible, and like everyone is screaming about it, but nothing is happening. And he actually got this whole he's like supported with his podcast and everything, and has like so he's like making, and it's gonna do amazing things and hopefully rock the boat with everything going on over there and bring a lot of attention to it. So I think that might follow with all the prisons, and at least hopefully make someone take a closer look at all of these, because there's no one monitoring these things.
No, when she was talking, I kind of got, because I told you guys I think in pictures. I thought of, this is what I thought of. What popped in my brain was, there's this picture of the old Oregon Trail wagon with the oxen, and it says get in, get in, bitch, we're gonna have dysentery. And I thought of that because obviously if you're having Legionnaire's disease, that's woo, it's pretty fucking bad. And so yeah, and I would think, like, you hear about all the wonderful things that Pennsylvania is doing with their criminal justice system, and you have and I want your governor for my governor. Why this is happening in a state like that? Because y'all do, support change and reform and good conditions for prisoners, or inmates, incarcerated individuals. So I'm wondering, why are we having Legionnaires? Why are we? I get some of the prisons are really old, but still. So, but we wish you, Michelle, all the luck to hopefully get this looked at for you to be able to visit and have contact with your loved one, because it is vital. It is important for his rehabilitation, and, I think it's a good thing that he has a support system and in you, and, a role model in you.
Congrats on your sobriety also.
Yes. And congrats on being off paper, honeys. Good job. I think that is all that I have. And that's all I have for today, as far as questions go.
That's all.
And comments. So I think that's it, Paige.
That's all, folks.
Did you have anything else?
Nope, other than I'm about to go curl up in a ball and sit in the fetus position for the rest of the day.
Oh, honeys.
Happy Easter. Happy Easter.
It's Easter. It's Sunday, y'all, but it's Wednesday. But hope you guys had a great Easter. Mm-hmm. But let's wish Paige to send her some huggy vibes, because she's not feeling very well.
No.
So we're all here with you, honeys. All right, guys. Well, thank you for tuning in to episode 54 of A Prison Wife podcast. We love you guys. Be on the lookout for a meme of the week.
Meme last week.
And
last week hit.
Meme last week was fire, Paige. Thank you for that. I love a little golden book in my life, because that just brings me back to my childhood.
I have another nostalgia idea, I think, for this week. I'll have to tell you after we.
Okay. So be on the lookout for our meme of the week, and comment below your essence. What would your essence be if you were going to bottle it up of you and your loved one? And we'll see you guys hopefully very soon for episode 55 next.
Double nickels.
Love you. Wait, what?
Double nickels. 55.
Double nickels.
It's what all the old ladies say at bingo.
Double nickels. Oh, double nickels. And dag nabbit. That's what we say. We love you.
Love y'all.
Besitos. All right, guys. Have a great week. Happy hump day. Bye, guys.
This is for the ones who love through the distance, for the ones who stay solid while time keeps ticking, for the ones who hold it down but never lose themselves. This is for the prison wives. Still don't break, love don't fold. I'm still here, I'm still gold. Through the glass, through the gates, ain't no distance make me change. Still don't break, love don't fold. I hold strong, I don't go. I don't wait, I don't beg. I hold it down and lift my head. They don't see the late nights, letters on the table, fighting through the system, just trying to stay stable. They don't see the count days, they don't feel the time crawl. They just see the sentence, but they don't see the love at all. Yeah, I made the vow and I stand 10 toes. Still got my life, still got my goals. I hold it down cause I choose to stay. This love got walls, but it don't got chains. Don't break, love don't fold. I'm still here, I'm still gold. Through the glass, through the gates, ain't no distance make me change. Still don't break, love don't fold. I hold strong, I don't go. I don't wait, I don't beg. I hold it down and lift my head. I'm a prison wife, but I'm still my own. Made my own moves, still stand on my throne. They think I'm just sitting here wasting my days. Nah, baby, I've been building while he counting the days. I ride for my love, I ride for my king, but I ain't no fool. I handle my biz. I ain't weak, I ain't lost, I ain't throwing my worth. I hold it down cause I know what it's worth. Through the letters, through the calls, through the gates, through it all. Love don't break, love don't fade. I'm still here, I'm still brave. Still don't break, love don't fold. I'm still here, I'm still gold. Through the glass, through the gates, ain't no distance make me change. Still don't break, love don't fold. I hold strong, I don't go. I don't wait, I don't beg. I hold it down and lift my head.
Still don't break, love don't fold. I'm still here, I'm still gold. Through the glass, through the gates, ain't no distance make me change.
Still don't break,